everybody. We're going to get started in just a moment. I do not own the rights to this music, but I own the rights to this groove. Hey. All right, y'all. We're going to get started. We're going to just jump right on into it today. I do have, of course, I always have more for you. I am Latanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits. And I am here today to hold space for our tribe talk. And if you are in our private group, go ahead and tag your sisters. Some of your sisters who are in Rebirth, we will not be on this main page for very long. So if you are a member of Rebirth Woman, come on into the private group. Come on in and join us, because today we are going to do a little bit more preparation for the Lionsgate activation that we're doing on 8/8 at 8 o'clock. The link is in the description. And so as I had conversations with you all last week, I just kept on feeling led to come here and to share this message, because it kept on coming through. I've seen it confirmed in many ways. I've already given the layout of the season that we're in of the Lionsgate, when it starts during that Cancerian Kali Durga energy into now this Sekhmet energy that we're going to talk about today, and how that relates to you and your divine feminine. Now, last week, we asked you, I came in on some little small some small conversations. We went live really talking about what you would tell your 30-year-old self. I asked some of you what you would tell your 30-year-old self. And initially, the answers were highlight reels. They were highlight reels, which can often become spiritual bypasses. And until I remember, I don't know if you all remember, I had to come out and come back in because of some of the technical difficulties. So of course, we're not using that medium, which is the cell phone today. We're using, directly coming into to chat with you. And I asked you what you would tell your 30-year-old self. Go keep tagging your sisters. Tag the OGs, Monique, Renee, the names. You put in a first letter and they'll come up if you're in Rebirth Woman. Bring them in, because help us to notify. But that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you that came on to have that sacred conversation live, and that was part of the preparation as well. Towards our 8/8. Now, the earth is already giving us some signs about the preparation that we need to do. I did not prepare a large presentation for you all today, because what I prepared last week is enough. It's in the group and it's on YouTube. It's enough. And so one of the things that I asked you all to do in the first prep call that we did last week, I said to you, make a list of those assets and liabilities, the ones that you are carrying emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, and consider what is it that you're going to be reprogramming and shifting into this particular Lionsgate. Now, let me also do this for the general audience, because we are in mixed company. When we're not just in Rebirth Woman is already women at different levels of understanding, different levels on their journey. But when we're on this main Facebook page or YouTube, we're in mixed company. And everybody does not respect the language of the stars or the sky or the universe. But the truth of the matter is, as ancient women, we always used the language of the elements. The language of the elements to describe ourselves, to describe what our present moment, to describe our past, and to describe our future. And so this Western world has called it astrology, and the Christian world has deemed it as something that is not positive. Yet they will tell you not to study numerology and astrology, but get up and preach on the meaning of the numbers of the new year. There's a lot of contradictory messages that our mind and our mindset has received and hold, that sometimes mixed company may not prioritize this type of language. So I celebrate each and every woman here that has embraced this language of the elements, both in yourself and in your journey, because we all have gone to the institutions that taught us how to use the King's English. We all have been, many of us have been degreed and certified in how to show up for other people to be accepted. And then when it's time for us to show up for ourselves, or when there's impotency in the guarantees that we have been granted by being the good girl or being the religious girl or following the rules, that is when we start to question. Now, some of you are extraordinary on this extraordinary womanhood journey. You questioned a long time ago, or you didn't need to question because your spiritual gifts and your intuition kicked in. Today, I wanted to touch on the power, the gift, the message of sacred rage. When we start talking about assets and liabilities, oftentimes we only look at victimhood, what we did wrong, what we could have done better. The same way when I ask, what would you tell your 30-year-old self if you're only living in the highlight reels? The highlight reels is, oh, I would tell her to trust herself. Okay. That's the highlight reel. Oh, I would tell her, oh, to live out loud. Highlight reels. And so I don't know about you. I've taught on this before. It's probably somewhere on my YouTube channel. There's a point in time where I realized that in my spiritual journey, in my decision to be better, do better, I judged what I was as wrong. And so it softened me. I almost felt weakened by my spirituality at one point, because I noticed that I was allowing things that I wouldn't normally have allowed, meaning I didn't address things that I would have normally addressed. I even could say, I thank you for that. I appreciate your honesty. I would even say that, I noticed that the first place that you can tell that this happens is when it comes to anger. Because when you start to practice forgiveness and you start to this journey of wanting to be free from the things that weighed you down, the mindset that kept you recycling, attracting, and repeating certain behavior patterns that no longer served you, you start to do that type of work. And so we call that oftentimes the high road. Oh no, I'm not going to respond. I'm going to exercise my boundaries. Whereas in the past, you might have cussed somebody out, somebody. You don't want to do that anymore. You might have said, you might have read them up one side and down the other. You say, I don't want to do that anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that this is that this is how sacred rage is supposed to look. And so I hear oftentimes when a woman who's on this journey is asked, what do you want? What do you desire? What do you want? from this? What do you want from that? How is it that you would like to experience this or that? Come on, Cheryl, I hear you. You're not by yourself, sis. You're just bold enough and free enough to acknowledge it. You're not by yourself, Chantel, honey. You just, and so it's plenty of people watching who don't testify. It's okay. And so when we look at this, we lose a lot of times our passion, our steam, and our fire because we've judged it. Now, what does that have to do with the Lion's Gate? What does that have to do with the language of the elements, or AKA the sky, universe, cosmology, your spirituality, your feminine intelligence? What does that have to do with manifesting in this season of chaos, exposure? The Aquarian age is what everybody's talking about, which the Aquarian age is used not only by, it's used, by those of you who are living this extraordinary womanhood life. It's used in the newspaper, in the Washington Post. It's used by scientists. It's used by NASA. What does all of this mean? And why is it that we see those who pick and choose what we're going to pay attention to and what we're going to prioritize? And so how can you use this Lionsgate energy? And what is this Lionsgate? Is it really a Lionsgate? Well, actually, there really is a Lionsgate in history. And it plays a historical significance, but I don't want to get into that today. And what my intention is not to do a whole lot of teaching during the activation. So those who need to be convinced, those who need to intellectualize, those who also are committed to process, these prep sessions are intended to support your process because the gate is already open. It's fully open on 8/8. Okay. It's a real opportunity on a spiritual level and on an alchemical level for us to set up and reprogram our mindset, our commitments, and ourselves to be in alignment with an energy. Like for instance, I'm doing a lot more learning around this whole idea of gardening and cultivating a garden. Gosh, I don't know. I guess I was too late putting out the announcement that I was coming in today. I don't mind if you all don't mind tagging a few more people, or just let me know that you're here. Are y'all still here? Just let me know if you picking up what I'm putting down. Not gonna be here too long. I'm waiting on you. Just let me know. The portal is already open. Shifts are already happening. Thank you, loves. Thank you so much. Shifts are already happening. Many of you can feel the intensity of this energy right here and right now. There's retrogrades happening. If I were to start to going into the retrograde, it will be even longer in terms of Saturn, in terms of Jupiter, and all the implications. The point is, if you cannot feel the shifts that are happening on the planet, you have to be numb. You have to be numb. And a numb person would not be willing or interested in responding to getting in front of an issue. They only wake up once the chaos has happened, once the shit hits the fan. Someone who's numb. But those of you who are sensitives and empaths and creatives, and not only that, those of you who are called for a time and a season such as this in your bloodline, it may look like you using strange language in a land of people who are so committed to being the same or accepting the same. If you don't understand the words that I'm talking, you can feel the energy. I heard someone saying, or read somewhere, someone saying, it feels like something is about to pop. Now, there's enough news reports about what's happening in China. There's enough news reports about what's happening, about wars and rumors of wars, just like the book of Revelation talked about. There is enough happening on the earth right now in terms of exposure of one thing after another. You probably could put in the chat the latest headline of the day. Maybe the latest headline is Beyonce. Maybe the latest headline is Neo and his wife. But those are not the real stars. You are the star of your own show. And so they give us fake stars to put our attention on, so we do not focus on the galaxy within us and all that the planets represent. Yes, China is preparing soldiers. Listen, I just read something about Africa having the Chinese army is in Africa doing strategic drills, and it blew me away. Not much blows me away, but to think about the level of treaty and partnership that another country has another country's military in it doing drills. Well, later, just like we found out, all you have to do is follow the money, is that there are deals between the Chinese government and African government, and people are talking about going back to Africa. You better try to understand who we are right now. That's why we've been having these private conversations about us being organic to the land and autochtons to the land, or originals right here. Because just like ancestry.com will have you taking tests and giving up your birthright that's right here, because your nationality is based off of land and where you were born. And so if you just surrender it and go to another land, you have another fight. And that's somebody I'm talking about as someone who has lived abroad. And the greatest realization when we would start doing paperwork and doing certain things, yes, you can come as a business to another place. You can do business with another place, Jen, just like you see Africa and China doing business. You can do all of that. But depending on, if you're not a native to that land, you do not have access to certain rights, period. And we are around here. I wasn't even trying to talk about this, but we start talking about China and Africa. It's one thing after another. I have a private Telegram group just so that we can share the latest updates and informations that literally is filtered. I had a friend who tried to send me some raw, unedited news that literally is blocked on these platforms. Literally, meaning he could not even share the link. That's the level of censorship that is happening. What is it that they don't want us to know? And I would say that if you're watching, everything that you have judged, revisit it. Everything that they've told you to believe, check it and check it twice, just like you was a kid waiting on Santa to come, and you waiting on Santa to write the list and check it twice. Go write your list and check it twice. Everything that you've taken a position about, revisit it. Because most of it is a distraction. Now let me get back on track to Sacred Rage. I thank you all who are on the general Facebook page. I would like to invite you to join the Rebirth Woman community. And certainly if you're interested in working with us monthly in smaller master classes, I'm not going anywhere for those who are on on Rebirth Woman and those who are on YouTube. I rarely come onto my public page until and unless I'm led and guided to come onto this public page. But everything is not for everybody. And that's why we have sacred spaces. I believe in creating sacred spaces. So if you've been watching on the general page, thank you for watching. Those of you who are Rebirth Woman, let's get into. You can't find the tribe anymore on the app. Yes, you can't find the tribe anymore on the app because the app is no longer public. It is only for members. And those of you who responded last year to download the app, there are benefits to being first responders, and you will be grandmothered in to stay in the app and gradually change with the shifts that we're having around membership. I'll tell you more about that in our sacred space. So if you're watching on the main Facebook page, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. All right, so let's get into it. All right, sacred rage. Many of us have been taught to want to shift our anger. Many of us have been taught that we aren't supposed to be angry. Many of us have judged our anger, and not only that, when there are areas in our life where we have not been compensated, when there are areas in our life where we have not felt compensated, where there's wounds, when there's things we sweep under the rug, when there are family patterns that go unaddressed, when we do this and for years and years and life keeps on happening, oftentimes I find that many well-meaning women, good girls, so to speak, are also very familiar with rage, seething, white hot rage that many women are afraid of themselves. Afraid of themselves, afraid of the part of them that could take your head off, like Sekhmet. Sekhmet is an ancient energy that many of us don't talk about enough. And so sometimes we only can access Sekhmet energy, which is represented by a woman with a lion's head, which is very significant for this lion's gate. Okay. And it's very important for you to revisit the activity of the assets and liabilities so that you can be very clear that the thing you would tell your 30-year-old to do, you are willing to do it now. To put yourself in position to be the potent woman that this energy of lion energy is. Lioness energy is an energy that is charismatic, fiery. You know, people don't really fool with lions. The lion in the jungle is not one to pet like a cat. Yes, they can be domesticated. And many of us have been domesticated and colonized in our own thinking. And if you weren't so domesticated, you would be okay with the parts of your goddess energy that sometimes is so powerful that even you are afraid of it. And so instead of being a victim, instead of always being a doormat, or instead of waiting or being guarded, what is that power, that fire that this is, that the season that we're in? One of the things that I love is there's a video circulating, and I was going to pull it up for you, but I'll post it in the group later, of Oh my God, she's an Oshun priestess. Oh God, I'll pull it up while I'm talking. She's talking about how Oshun's waters are drying up, and that Oshun is represents our prosperity. Oshun represents the sweetness of pleasure, but there is a fierce side of Oshun when angered. And so when the waters of the earth, which is, we are all made up of more than 75% water. The earth is more than 75% water. We're in a season of drought, unusual heat. What is happening on the planet? The planet is speaking, even if it's being manipulated by systems like, I don't even want to call their names because I don't want to get the video blocked or anything on this platform. That's how serious the censorship is that I don't want to get it blocked, but you can look up. I'll put those into the app today. If you're in the app, just I'll put a little note to say this is what I was referencing. But the grid is hot. It's on fire. There are places that don't have water, like Mexico, California. What is going on? When we sing the song about not troubling the waters, but the waters are troubled, not just of the earth, but the earth is a representation of us, and it is a representation of the mother. And Sekhmet energy is the goddess of war, power, and healing. Now, let me give you some of the names of Sekhmet. And if you see this in yourself, this aspect of you, I want you to just put, that's me. The one who is powerful. Sekhmet is called the one who's powerful. Sekhmet is called one before whom evil trembles. In other words, she makes people and things that are evil tremble. Her presence. She don't play any games. Mistress of dread. People don't want to mess with this type of energy. When you get angry, is there somebody in your family who they dread taking you to that place? Lady of slaughter. She comes to chop heads. You got to know that aspect of you in case you got to defend your own house and family. She who mauls, like a lion, you go try to approach her cubs. Another thing that I watch, and I recommend you all check this out too, and we can study it together. There's a series on Netflix called Alone. And man, it will teach you a lot about what we are so dependent on in this modern day society. And there were places where mountain lions were, bears were. And when you're in nature, everybody likes to romanticize nature, but everything in nature is hunting everything. It's only the strongest survive. A cat will hunt you, stalk you. So she who mauls, the great one of magic, ruler of the desert. It's dry right now. Ruler of serpents and dragons, ruler of lions, sublime one, great one of healing. She whose opportunity escapeth her not. Warrior of Nefertit. I don't know what that means, but it does mean warrior. I'll look it up. Devouring one, Sekhmet of knives, burner of evildoers, beloved teacher, lady of all powers, Sekhmet who gives joy. See, Sekhmet is not just coming to take life. Sekhmet brings justice to evil when people have been taken advantage of, because Sekhmet energy is a healing energy. It is a prospering energy when used properly. The part of you that gets sick of your own stuff and you say enough is enough. When you say enough is enough, it's time for me to shift. It's time for me to be the shift that I want to see. I can't do this anymore. Have you ever been in a place where enough is enough? It seems like the earth is saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. because this is the energy that we're feeling on the planet right now. And we want to play with this thing and romanticize this thing. Yes, it's love. The lion does represent love. The lion does represent the heart and matters of the heart. But you can't have heart without having courage. And so that means, my love, there's a season we're in a season that courage is being called upon in us like never before, to face truths in ourselves, around us, like never before. Love is not a lightweight energy. Love is straight, no chaser. Love will pull you up and set you out. Love is a currency. And so that's why when we lose it, or when somebody abuses it, and we are a loving people that have been abused for over 400 and something years on the earth, what is it in us that has been done that we as a people, as a collective, are experiencing amnesia generation after generation? And now there's a time where we're being awakened. What is that time? Why is it that there are planets in retrograde during this portal opening? Because it's something that we need to see, we need to return to, we need to revisit, we need to look at it. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And retrogrades do not have to be periods where you whip your own ass for what you didn't do, what you wish you had done, but you do need to see it so that you can make new choices. This is an opportunity to make new choices. And so when we look at the places, I want to challenge you to look at what irritates you, where your triggers are now. Just like I said, look at the assets and the liabilities on the last one. Where are you triggered easily? And what is that thing that can take you into that Sekhmet energy that you deny that's in you? What aspect of yourself are you denying? There's a sacred code even in your own Sekhmet energy. It's a sacred code. And in order to enter into another codified energy, you want to be unlocked. Start unlocking your codes the next few days before we come together on Monday. Invite someone to join you so that you are not the only one in your circle that is speaking the language of earth, of air, of fire, and of water. Because you know that the elements are speaking to you in your own life. How is earth speaking to you where you need to be grounded, where you need to prosper, where you need to be practical, where you need to plan? How is the earth speaking to you in where you need water? You need to cool your head. You need to flow more. How you need to tap into your emotions. Where is air speaking to you where you need to think higher? You need to speak different. Where you need to communicate with the divine. Where is air speaking to you where you need to learn and unlearn? Where is what did I do? Fire. Where is fire speaking to you about your passions and the things that you abandoned, the dreams deferred, the truth that you need to tell, the joy that you deserve to have? You speak this language if you are on this live with me. You do. You are an extraordinary woman, because there are many people who specialize in being ordinary, and something about you says, yes, I have done the ordinary. I went to school, I got good grades, I have a degree, I have a job, I have something to show for it. I bought a house, I got married, I raised my children. You did what was recommended to the ordinary. but something extraordinary happened in your life that woke up your sacred fire to even know what you know. Ashe, ashe. Come on now. Many of you, it's ancestral. It's beyond even right now. Yes, the American dream. You said it. You said it. But we are the Americans, the original Americans. We are. So who is the imposters that have come in to give us an imposter American dream? Who is the de facto government that's come in to tell us who we are through identity theft, and we built entire worlds around it, and the world is crumbling right around us? Come on now. I did the ordinary very well too, but you can do extraordinary even better. Wake up your sacred fire without apology, because there are some heads that need to be taken off, even if it's the one that you inherited from your life, your ordinary life, and put on a new one. Have y'all seen the pictures of Sekhmet and who and what she is? You have felt your own Sekhmet lioness energy. You let somebody come for your children. You let somebody talk about your mama. And some of you are the kind of riders that Eve, you was the friends that rolled out in the middle of the night for your other friends. You know what I'm talking about. You were that. Don't play with me energy. Now we see women who are doing it in an imposter way, fighting each other on television, on reality shows. We see it with fake booties and fake titties and fake this and fake that, as though it's real. And so when we think about this Lion's Gate, think about those triggers that you have not been honest about, even if it's your own mother. Even if it's in the places that you have been uncompensated. Even when we think about Oshun and the beauty of Oshun, we are coming out of the season of the sacred prostitute, the sacred whore. The sacred whore has been celebrated in this culture by imposter whores. Yes, I said it. I love my sisters, but the whore energy is now, that one has expired. We are in the season of the mother, because it's become so loose and lascivious that now we see excuses for trafficking children and child abuse. And you may have been in the generation of women where there were excuses for the abuse and neglect that you have endured and survived and thrived anyway. Give yourself credit, because we might be going seeking credit and credit repair and this and that from everywhere else, but the spiritual, emotional, and intellectual credit that has to be given first is to yourself. And so I close today, particularly on this YouTube. I want to invite you all to get ready for this 8/8 activation. I'm going to be a little bit more quiet in this week. I do invite you to join the membership. I will put the link to join, but you can go to LaTanyaTaylor.com. Always go when you need to get to me. Everybody act like they can't. Where do I sign up? Where do I find you? Anything I'm talking about, you should be able to find it, unless it's private or a special offer. And you can always find that link in my bio. It's on my Instagram page. I do need to update it possibly on my Facebook page, but I will post it here as well. Just scroll down to the comments to join the membership. I had 3 levels of membership in mind. Some of you joined the cheapest one you could. And I decided that I'm not going to cheapen my energy by breaking myself up into bit-sized pieces at that level. I am a master coach, and I appreciate this, but the shift talkers level is for those who want to just do a digital donation and that type of thing. But the paradigm shifters is where we are focusing. It's only $29.99 for a master class. I have referenced this Rebirth Sunday School for some, where we stay behind on the third Sunday of the month to focus in both on universal law and movements, but also for us to be strategic about becoming the priestess of our own household and being and what we need to do. That's where I'm going to also bring in the special guests. That's where we're going to get more specific about some list of things that we need to have to do, some references, some discernment about some of the news that we have. The paradigm shifter will be available for the rest of this year before we go into next year, which is Sacred Juice. Sacred Juice has been revived and remixed what you might as well call Sacred Juice a 12-month revival. Membership has its privileges. Every member will have access to the new frequency reading, the inner voice frequency reading, which is a device I use to read you through your voice to determine what chakras need attention. And you get a binaural beat that you can listen to every day to support yourself. In addition to that, you can get attunements. Thank you, Cheryl. You can get attunements. So those members of the membership will get that at 40% off, which is deep. That will only be available now during this special time that we are in for a limited time. So get in right now, y'all. I don't have any plans to go on set. I'm able to really nurture and really we need private spaces to be able to talk about certain things that we just cannot talk about in these social spaces. So that link will be in the comments section. Some of you have sent me inboxes for it to join. You should have those links directly. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, you can tag me. I'm going to stop. There is so much more I could go through. But if you just do the basics of what I just said, you will start preparing yourself to be clear for the activation process that we're going to do together. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Make sure that you get in where you fit in this Rebirth 360 energy that I am calling the mothership. Get on the mothership, baby, because it's landing right here for you. And if nothing else, subscribe to the channel and join us in Rebirth Woman. And I remember the app is closed to the public now. Those of you who are already in will be grandmothered in to a version. And those who members, you will get the benefit of membership. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. See you on the other side. Ciao.